Welcome to The Eventful Entrepreneur with Krista Graham, where we embark on an exciting journey through the dynamic intersection of weddings and entrepreneurship. Join me, Krista Graham, your guide in the world of growing a successful wedding business. In each episode this season, we dive into one piece of your client journey from marketing to offboarding. Whether you're a seasoned wedding pro or just starting, this podcast is your go-to resource for navigating the intricacies of the wedding industry. Hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. I wanted to take this last episode on getting your clients or getting your leads to sign and pay you to talk about evaluating your process. I am a huge fan of automating, creating processes and systems, especially in the beginning, so that once you start to get clients, they can kind of just flow into the process, right? But I also think it's important to pause and evaluate once that starts to happen. And I want to kind of break down how I do this for my consultation, kind of the whole lead to client process. So far in this season, I have gone through how leads find you, how to get them to fill out their contact form, the book a consultation, they attend the consultation, they sign the contract, they pay the deposit, and now they become a client. That is the process we're going to evaluate. And what I want you to do is, if you are able to write this down, I would do that. This is a very tactile episode, actionable episode. I want you to track your numbers, and I want you to specifically know in a roundabout way. There's many ways you can find these numbers, but I want you to know how many people are looking at your website and your social media. That's kind of the largest pool. This should be the largest number in this list of numbers. Then, how many people are filling out your contact form? So this is how many leads do you have? And then I want to know how many of those leads schedule a consultation with you. Out of those people, how many actually attend the consultation? They show up to this meeting that they scheduled. And then how many people of those become a client of yours? How many people sign and pay? Every number should get lower as you go. So this is your funnel. If you've ever heard a marketing expert talk about your funnel, at the top of the funnel, it's big and wide. So it can hold all those people that are looking at your website, at your Instagram, at your TikTok, whatever your social media of choice is. As the funnel goes down and it gets more narrow, it weeds some people out. So the people that fill out your contact form are not all going to schedule a consultation. But those who do schedule a consultation, most of them will probably attend, but there will be some that won't. And then there will be some that will become clients and some that won't. So as your funnel gets narrower and they come out the little bottom part that's the least wide, the narrowest, those are for your clients to move on into your process. So I want you to look at these numbers, and I want you to determine your success rate from one stage to the next. So out of the people who looked at your website, take the number of people that filled out your contact form, divide that by the number that viewed your website, right? So smaller number on top, bigger number on bottom, and multiply by 100. That's going to give you your success rate, the percent of people who viewed your website and filled out the contact form. So you're going to have that percentage. Next, I want you to take the number of people who scheduled a consult, divide by that's the top number, and then divide, the bottom number is the people who filled out your contact form. So this is the percent of people who booked a consultation from the people who filled out your contact form. And I want you to do that with each step. And then the last step is actually figuring out your overall number. So of all the people who came to your website, how many of those became a client? That's kind of your overall success rate. Now look at each of those percentages and kind of, okay, leave the last one, the viewers to client, leave that one off for right now. So let's say, and I'm going to grab my actual numbers from quarter 1. So I had 4,300 people view my website. That number, that 4,300, is probably a lot of bots. So take that with a grain of salt. You really don't need this number 100%. If you do, try to look at Google Analytics or whatever that is now and narrow down, try to weed out the bots. I think this was my total number with bots and, web search crawlers and all those things I don't understand. So I just wanted to come in here and point that out. And out of those numbers, 7 filled out the contact form. Of those 7, 4 scheduled a consultation. All 4 attended their consultation. And of those 4, 3 of them became a client. So my success rate for converting a lead to a consultation is 57%. That's 4 out of 7. It is 100% for scheduling to the consultation. And then it is a 75% success rate of booking turning a consultation into a client. And then my overall success rate from leads to client, so from that 7 that filled out the contact form to the 3 that became clients, is 43%. So what I'm looking at overall is, am I happy with that overall number, that 43%? The number of people, the number of leads to clients. That's a pretty dang good percentage, in my opinion. That's almost half. Half of everybody that actually inquired with me became a client. So if I want to look further into this process and say, okay, where can I improve these numbers? I would look at probably the leads to scheduling their consultation. And I would say, okay, that's 57%. That's the lowest conversion rate in this process. What are some things I can do to increase the chances that somebody who fills out that contact form is actually going to schedule the consultation? And we'll talk about some things to do in each step in a few minutes. But I hope this is clear. If not, you can go back and re-listen. I am not a numbers person, so when numbers get involved, I don't think I explain it as clearly as I could. If maybe I'll create a visual that I can include in a newsletter or something. But I'm making a note to actually do that. Okay. So, thinking about your numbers, and thinking about where your success rate is good, that pretty much says you can leave that as is. So my leads that schedule a consultation, 100% of them actually attended their consultation. So what I'm doing in that process right there, the number of follow-ups, the information that I'm passing along, that has worked pretty well. I don't need to waste time messing with that. But what I do want to look at is getting those people who looked at my website and entered the contact form, getting them to schedule the consultation. So taking the lead to schedule their consultation. That's what I want to look at and figure out some potential issues that I can address to improve my numbers here. So I'm going to take the next section, and this is really the last section. So if you don't know your numbers yet, I would really suggest pausing and getting your numbers so that you can kind of think through this as I go through and process it with your real-time data. So if you need to get more viewers of your website to fill out that contact form, some issues you might want to address are, is your website up to date? Is it fast? Is it mobile friendly? When's the last time you looked at your website on your phone to make sure that things line up correctly, that nothing looks weird? You might want to do that just to see. Are you clearly stating what you do, what is unique about how you do it, and where you live? Where are you? I'm in the Detroit area. I cannot count the number of vendor websites that I have looked at, and it does not say what area they work in. So I can, if they have a phone number listed, I can look at the area code and say, okay, well, maybe they work in Detroit because they have a 313 or a 734 or a 248 area code, but people move all the time, right? So you really don't know. Put where you work on your website. If you're willing to travel, include that as well. Does your website answer some preliminary questions that they might have? So they might have gone to your website. It either doesn't say that you work in their area, or they're looking for pricing and there's not even a starting price. So they assume that they can't afford you. They want to see your face. Maybe they want to make sure you look like a nice person. I don't know. What are some things that you could add to your website to answer some preliminary questions to make it clear if they should reach out or not? And then, is the call to action, so in my case, the contact form, easy to find? Is it clear? Is it easy to use? Is it too long? Is it too involved? I save the very involved questions for the questionnaire that gets emailed to them after they fill out the contact form. That way it's in their email if they need to, put a pause on it and come back to it. It's easier for them to remember to do that. Okay, so the next step, maybe you are getting people to fill out your contact form, but they're not scheduling consultations. Some ways that you could address that is make sure you're using an online scheduling platform that makes it very, very easy for them to check against their schedule and book their appointment. Offer a phone, a virtual, or in-person options. Right now, I only offer a virtual consultation. So that might be one thing that I can change to increase the bookings, as I could offer both virtual and in person. Consider offering a free consultation if you don't. If you do charge for your consultation, make sure that's clear. And then look at your follow-up process. So when they fill out that contact form, if they're not scheduling a consultation, you want to make sure you have a follow-up process in place, an email system, or maybe you want to pick up the phone and call them and see if you can get that consult booked. Provide some value here so they kind of get that FOMO of wanting to work with you, and they can see a little bit of how awesome you are before they even get to speak with you. Okay, the next stage is once they schedule, you want them to actually show up to the consultation. So if you have people that are not showing up once they schedule, first of all, rude, but look deeper into your process. Check your reminder emails, make sure they're going out. I know HoneyBook offers texting reminders now, so maybe turn that on for your clients. Did you ask any personal questions kind of as a follow-up? Did you provide any value in the meantime? Did you show interest in their event up front between when they scheduled the consultation and their actual appointment date? If they scheduled and then they did not hear from you at all, they're probably not going to show up. Maybe they met with another client, another planner or another florist and booked with somebody else. But you kind of want to ask that question. So if it gets up to maybe the day or two before the appointment and you haven't, followed up with them, maybe check back in and say, hi, I just want to make sure we're still on for our appointment tomorrow. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. I can't wait to hear what your wedding plans are, something like that. Maybe they don't fully understand what the consultation entails or what they should expect from the meeting. So laying that out clearly at some point in the after they book is important. Let them be comfortable going into that meeting. They might have just been curious and wanted to get more information, so they signed up, they scheduled, and they might have never intended to book with you. And that's okay too. It happens. After a client misses a consultation, don't just write it off and go on about your day. You want to try and save that lead by gracefully following up. Send a polite email saying that you had this appointment on the calendar and you hope everything is okay. You can make a joke about how I'm sure life got crazy and it was the last thing on their mind, and then send them a link to reschedule. I will probably do this once. I really value my time and expect people to show up when they say they're going to show up. So, I will give the benefit of the doubt one time. If it becomes an issue and it happens again, then I'm going to say, I don't think that this relationship is going to, continue forward. You just want to make sure that it shows you care, and if they simply forgot about the meeting, that you can empathize a little bit with that and offer them another opportunity. Okay, so if your next stage is the one that you want to improve, so after you have the consultation with them, if you have a low success rate of turning that lead into a client, maybe have a little more clarity in what you're offering. Do you have a clear call to action for how they become a client? Are you verbalizing it in the meeting as well as putting it in the email where you send the contract? Did you gather enough important information beforehand? Do they feel like you know their event, you're excited about it, and that you are engaging with them and personal to them? Were you welcoming, professional, and helpful? Was it easy to talk to you? Was it easy to hear you? Were there kids screaming in the background? It happens. I know it happens. But make sure that they are getting a glimpse of what it's like to work with you and that it's going to be easy and relaxing to have meetings with you. Were you actively listening and sharing a vision that matches their own? Did you answer all their questions thoroughly and thoughtfully? Did the meeting feel custom and personal to them? Is your process clear and streamlined? And then what is your follow-up process after you send the contract or invoice and if they have not signed or paid? What is your follow-up process there? How do you kind of re-engage them? So those are all some things you can do to improve each step along the way. I would encourage you, if you have not kept track of numbers like this, to start doing that now. And, and then at the end of every quarter, keep track of those numbers and you can notice trends over time. If you do change anything in the process, make note of that so you can see if that directly relates to any of your numbers, your success rates changing for the better or worse. And don't think that if you change something, it's permanent. If you make a change and your numbers get worse, of course, you can reverse it and see if it gets better. This is just a way to evaluate and keep iterating as you go through your business. And I think probably about every year or so, you're going to adjust your process and you're going to, do things a little bit different. So it's always helpful to know your numbers and to know kind of where your successes and where your opportunities for improvement are. So that is all I have for you today. Next, we are heading into a new month. So we are going to start focusing on onboarding our new clients now that they have signed and sealed and delivered their contract and retainer payment with us. We are going to talk about onboarding workflow, setting expectations with new clients, what to include in a welcome packet or a welcome email, and how much info to give clients at what point in the process. I do have one episode at the end of June that is open-ended at the moment, and I would love for this to be a Q&A about the onboarding process, or really anything up until this point. If you have any questions, I will put a link in the show notes to where you can enter those into a Google form, and it could be anonymous if you want, or you can put your name and I'll give you a little shout out. But I would love to answer any questions you have about, the onboarding process and getting your clients ready for success and working with you. Again, my name is Krista. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I will be back next week.